let's see. The Hangout is now live. So I'm saying it. We are now live. So Rob, welcome again. Welcome again after the first call failing. Now, these are the video conversations we do for the 356 Labs and the people around it. And you are coming from Australia. That's an important stuff. We have a guest from all back to Australia, and you are the CEO of a company that I'm using your product from at least 6 months, which is called Zeetings. Now, I want you to bring more awareness about your great product, and so who else to bring better awareness than you as the CEO of the company? So can you please let us know a bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's great to talk to you.
Sure.
And thanks for using Zeetings and supporting Zeetings and promoting Zeetings.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm calling in here from Australia, as you say. You can see behind me it's getting dark, and I'm at the Zeetings office. There's the kitchen on my right. So Zeetings is it's a software platform. It's available on the web. There's nothing to download or install. And the philosophy behind Zeetings is really to turn presentations from being really one way into being two-way. So it's this idea of not standing in front of a group of people and talking at them, but rather talking with them and facilitating a conversation. So what we've done is we've taken advantage of the fact that everyone is now carrying a device. So there's a way to connect with people in real time. And then using all those devices to actually allow people to engage. So there's a host of ways that you can interact, which I'm sure we'll discuss.
Yeah.
And it's all about, giving people in your audience a voice to make your presentation more powerful.
Okay, so however, where did the idea came from? Why did you create the product?
Yeah. It really came from, we were sitting in San Francisco actually with my co-founders, and we were at a startup pitch event, and we watched one company after the other get up and pitch, and unfortunately we saw the problems that just too often happen with presentations. So, the first guy gets up to present, and the slides don't look right on the big screen. The resolution was wrong, and the deck didn't open. Anyway, and you know what happens. People take out their phones and they drift off to email, and they're looking at Facebook and all the rest of it.
Don't waste my time.
Exactly. And this happened with the first 3 pitches in a row. Something went wrong, whether it was the slides or they opened the wrong deck. And the big challenge there is that, people don't want to just sit back and be passive anymore. So unless you're really giving them an opportunity to be active, there's too many distractions. They're going to take out their phones and do something else. Yeah. And once you've lost them, it's even harder to get them back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, we were sitting there and we said the psychology of people that attend presentations has completely changed. They no longer want to sort of sit back and just be passive. They actually want to lean in and get involved.
Yeah.
And the positive thing is that the technology, everyone's now got one of these. The technology actually allows people to get involved. Yeah. So we started off with a really simple idea. We said, can you take a presentation from the screen at the front of the room and in real time put it on everyone's device, that they have a much more intimate experience? And then we started building from there. So we managed to do that from a technical perspective. And then I think that's when we really realized, once people are on a device, not only should they be able to see your slides, they can do so much more. They should be able to give you feedback, ask you questions, see who else is in the room, really start to have a conversation. So it sort of started to build from there.
And so you realize that you can involve the audience even more in the presentation of a speaker. And so you did a lot of ways how to involve that audience through their devices in that talk. So what are the ways that people can now, for example, if they go and create a Zeeting, how can they, and what they can expect their audience to see, and how they can expect their audience to get involved? What are the ways that you enable today?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing that we've really focused on is making it really, really simple for the audience to get involved. Absolutely. So, there's no app to install, there's no software to download.
Yeah.
They don't have to create an account. There's nothing. All they do is literally go to your URL. So as an example, yours could be zeetings.com/Boris, and they go to that URL and it works. There's nothing else to do.
Magic.
Yeah. Well, we like to think so. So you ask. So what happens once they're there? So the first thing is they can see your slides.
Sure.
And they see your slides in real time. So as you present, they only see the slide you're on. They can't page ahead. So it keeps everyone on the same page. And as I was saying before, it makes it a much more intimate experience because your content is now on their device. So for the first time, they start to feel a sense of ownership over it, and that sort of draws them in.
Yeah, which is, by the way, just to add here, which is, by the way, makes an important point, because if you think about it, you can use Zeetings not just for presenting your content in front of the audience and for them to have it in their hands, but you can use Zeetings to also present to a remote audience.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And we see that a lot. And what sometimes people do is they may have some people in the room and some people are remote.
Exactly.
And you can have that mix. It's very powerful for the remote people because it makes them feel part of it, even though they're not there.
Exactly, yeah. And many people are nowadays participating in like calls or presentations from their mobile devices.
Yeah, totally. So the slides kind of pulls things together, and it's important to know that you don't have to create your slides in Zeetings. You can create them in PowerPoint or as a PDF. You upload it into Zeetings and it works. All your animations will work, your transitions, etc.
That's important stuff. That's really important stuff.
You shouldn't, we believe you shouldn't have to learn a new platform. So everyone's already used to PowerPoint. What Zeetings does is just give you more functionality. So the next thing you can do is polling. So what Zeetings allows is really simple to use real-time polls.
Yeah.
So what you can do is between your slides, these you create in Zeetings, you can create all different types of polls. So, all the things you'd expect, like multiple choice and text polls, but then, some different ones like thumbs up, thumbs down, and ranking, and, there's a bunch of different polls. And we've really made them work across all screen sizes. So if someone's on a mobile phone, it looks great.
Yeah.
But similarly, if you put it up on the projector on the big screen, it looks great too. So it's completely responsive. So, it looks and feels the way it should. And polls, polls are a really great way of just getting feedback, but also sometimes just breaking the ice or bringing just a bit of, just a bit of excitement or additional engagement.
Polls are incredible, by the way. These are just one of the best ways. Engage an audience, ask them for something, readapt again. It's just one of those things that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's a great way of kind of just reinforcing your content, because when you just tell people the answer, they don't necessarily take it in, but when you force them to think by asking them a question, it's a much better way of retaining the information.
Yes.
And the thing about Zeetings is, some people would have seen polling software before. The thing about Zeetings is that because people are viewing your slides on their device, it just happens in the flow of the presentation. So you don't have to stop your presentation and say, can everyone now take out your phones? We're going to run a poll. You don't need those clickers that you used to hand out. You just turn the page and the next page happens to be a poll and people can vote, and then you move on. Another really popular bit of functionality that we offer is the ability for people in the audience to post questions and comments. So throughout your presentation, they can be posting, and all those questions and comments are captured. Something that's pretty cool is other people in the audience can actually like or upvote each other's comments. So what happens is you can start to crowdsource the questions that most people want answered. And that's a really good way of actually understanding, what are the important questions and what are the not so important questions.
Yeah, and I have seen that in action, because if you think about it, that's the work of a moderator. And at the end of the day, if you have, for example, if you deliver a session and you accept questions from the audience via Zeetings, then at the end of the sessions, you don't need the moderator to read those questions to you anymore. You just have to go through your device or your platform or whatever device you are using actually, and just take a look at which are the top 5 or top 10, or no matter how much you can answer. So It's
Yeah,
really
and it also, and it makes people feel empowered, because what often happens in a Q&A is the person that's the loudest or the most confident, they stand up and they consume all the time, because they make a comment for 5 minutes and then they keep talking. Whereas with this, it's very democratic, because everyone decides which questions are most important.
Yeah.
Something else you can let people do, it's an option, is post questions anonymously. And that's often a good way if you want to know what people really think.
Yeah.
Even if you're just discussing a sensitive topic. So, there may be something that people are too shy to talk about, or embarrassed because in front of their colleagues, they don't want to ask a question. So if you allow people to do it anonymously, it's a very good way of getting everyone involved.
And that's a separate option that you guys have.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's cool. I mean, something we are conscious of is also how you display the questions on the big screen. So you have a few options there. One thing you can do is you can literally just with one click, you can click someone's question, and in real time, it will display on the big screen. So it's quite a nice way when you are in your Q&A session.
Yeah.
You could say, okay, we're going to answer, John's question. You click on it, and his question is up instantly on the screen.
Yeah, that's
nice. Which is quite nice. Another thing you can do is display all the questions as a live feed. So as the questions are being posted, they can just appear on the screen one by one in real time.
And that's also, you don't need any switching between browsers and anything, right?
Yeah, it's just all clean. It's just in one place.
Okay.
So it makes it really easy. Other bits of functionality is you can start to include things in your presentation that you couldn't do before. So because you're online, and this is all happening in the browser, you could do things like you can embed any content that's on the web. So as an example, you can throw a YouTube video into a presentation. You could embed a Google map. You could embed a live share price. You could embed a live weather feed. Anything that's on the internet, you can embed in your presentation. And that's kind of, as creative as you can be.
It remains live.
And it remains live. So people are actually looking at the web page or the widget or whatever you're embedding. They're actually looking at the live version. It's not just a screenshot or something.
Okay.
So it's a good way of, if there's content that's interactive that you want people to interact with, you can paste it. And sometimes it just is to bring a bit of fun. You can embed something like a GIF or a short video or an image, that type of thing. Another bit of interactivity is you may want to include a survey directly in your presentation. So, so a poll allows everyone to see the results and it all happens live. But a survey is for you to collect private information from people.
Yeah.
So, a simple example is at the end of your presentation, you put a survey up, automatically it shows up on people's device, and you could say, what did you think of my presentation, or how could I have done better? Things like that. You could do a quick survey and then you move on. So
that's also cool stuff.
Yeah. So, that's often something, it's very difficult to often get that type of feedback from people.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed, and I really, whenever I talk about Zeetings, is like, you have to understand that Zeetings, even though it allows all of the great things that you already said, for me is something that's also interesting from another standpoint, from another point of view, because this is the first time ever in which I saw a software allowing someone to like a slide. To just start a slide, which is a social, a new layer on top of your slides, which is like on Instagram. Do you like a photo? Double click. Yes, I like it. So you can approve or disagree with a slide, kind of liking it or disliking it, which is, can you talk a bit about that stuff?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's really deep-seated in the philosophy of the tool, that we are putting the social layer, exactly as you describe it, on top of a presentation.
Yeah.
So, and there's really two sides to it. The one side is all about engagement. You want to give people different ways of expressing themselves. So some people want to post a comment, other people want to like a slide. And the more ways you give people to interact, the more engaged they can get in your presentation.
Yeah.
The other side of it is about data. So at the end of your presentation, you can go and you can say, well, slide number 3 got 10 likes and slide number 7 only got 1. Like, what was going on there? Why were people more interested in the one slide over the other? And all this data comes together on Zeetings, you would have seen, in a really very simple dashboard. So you can see everything from the votes in the polls to the likes of the slides to the comments people made. And all that data is available to you at the end. So, and you can export it to Excel if you want to kind of chop it up and work with it. But even just as a snapshot, it's a really easy way of just saying, like, how did I actually do? One of the things we want to tell people is often when you present, you're looking out into an audience. You have no idea what any of them are thinking. You don't know if they quiet because they're really interested or they quiet because they're really bored. And what we're trying to do is to put a bit of science behind that, to actually give you an idea, like who was interested, who wasn't interested, what were they interested in, when did you lose someone, when did you get them excited, all these types of things you can tell.
Yeah, when I experimented with the platform, the first thing I saw was the likes, and I was like, that's interesting. And then I figured that there is this thing that you called like a summary and a dashboard of how you did. And you get an overview of all the likes and comments and everything in one place with beautiful charts. And I was like, wow, okay, now that gets on another level. And so people should be imagining this, that if when you close the meeting, when you close the Zeeting, you get a page in which you have a dashboard with information for you as a speaker to just analyze and just go through to understand how you did, which is really cool stuff.
And the thing, I'd be interested in your thoughts, but the thing I'd want to emphasize is, there's a lot of functionality and there's all the analytics as well. But what we've really tried to do, and I hope we've achieved it, is to keep it very simple. So it still feels like it doesn't look like some old software with lots of buttons and switches and controls. What we've tried to do is you go in and it just kind of looks and feels like it makes sense. So that's something we're constantly trying to do, is just simplicity, simplicity, simplicity.
Yeah, it is one of those, like, let's call them web services or websites, which you go and it's like so clear and so obvious, and the design is like the design represents 2016. I like to say it this way. It really represents the year that we live in, which is also just great. People should go and check it out. We'll of course post a link to the Zeetings website, and they'll go and check it out. But can you now talk a bit more, just a few more words on, if you are a speaker, how you can use it? What are in general, is there something that's free? Is there something that's paid? How do you guys how do you guys make your money?
Yeah, sure. So basically it's a web service. It's all available online in the browser. And we have a few different plans. So there is a free plan, which is very popular, and that allows you.
Yes,
it is. We know every day, there's hundreds of people coming in there, and that allows you to present up to 30 people. So we want to make sure that it's really usable, the free plan. It's not designed as a trial. It's designed as something you can use on an ongoing basis.
Yes.
So you can use it for up to 30 people, and with a lot of the functionality. So the slides and the polls and the comments and the questions, you can do all of that within the free plan. We then have a couple.
I'm using that one up until now. So.
Good.
Up until now.
Good. We're very, very happy for you to continue doing that. We then have a couple paid plans, and they offer two things. So the first thing is there's 2 tiers, and they offer more capacity. So the first tier lets you have up to 100 people, and the next tier up to 500 people. And you also get certain advanced functionality. So you get more analytics.
Okay. Really? Okay. Cool.
So you might have to give you a trial on one of the paid plans, so you can check out the analytics.
Yeah, definitely.
because I know you like them. You can see who's liking your stuff even more.
I'm coming from the database world, man. So it's all about the data.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So on the paid plans, there's some more analytics, and there's some more ways of engaging. So as an example, I mentioned before that the live activity feed, where you can see people's comments and questions on the big screen in real time. That's a paid feature.
Okay. Cool.
The polls are free, but the survey I mentioned, that's a paid feature. And then certain configurations. So if you want to customize the look of the poll to match your branding, things
that
like
makes
that
sense to be paid. Of course, that makes sense to be paid. Okay, so we have the Zeetings. We have I really like to think about it as an additional layer on top of presentations, which just adds so much more engagement and at the same time understanding of what and how do you deliver. And we have it. A lot of the things that you can do are actually free, and you can use them for free. So I don't understand why people won't go and try it. So we'll definitely make sure to post those links. Something else, one last thing. Let's say what's coming. Can you tell us what are you focused on? Do you think that is there something that you are improving right now, or adding that's not under NDAs or anything like this? What should we be expecting from you in 2016?
Yeah, sure. So we're very open about our roadmap because we love getting feedback. So there are a few areas we're working in. The one big area is that Zeetings is it started off being designed for presenting live at meetings or at events and stuff. But what you can also do now is send a Zeeting to someone to look at in their own time. So so that's a kind of a completely different way. So in the same way you'd email someone a PowerPoint deck or a PDF document, you can now email them a Zeeting. And what's cool about that is when they open it, firstly, you'll get notified. So you know who's opened your Zeeting and who has access to it. But also, it's much more engaging. So if someone opens your PowerPoint deck, it's kind of boring, right? They just page through your slides. When they open your Zeeting on their own, you can still have polls, you can still have comments, you can still have questions. So they can actually page through it and interact with it. And each time they see the result, and then you'll see the results. So if someone votes in your poll on their own, you can go in and see those results. If someone asks you a question, you'll get notified by email, and you can go and respond to them. So you can really have an ongoing conversation.
Okay, so it's like watching kind of a recording of the session, but with the interactivity.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not necessarily the recording. There may not even have been a live session. There's the video. It's just it's sort of just a nice way to interact. So it's an ongoing conversation. So we're really doing a lot of work to make that experience even better. So more functionality when you're not presenting live. The other area we've been doing a lot of work in is the analytics. So so as an example, today you can go in and you can see the charts, as you mentioned, of all your votes in your polls. Something we're going to have quite soon is the ability to actually drill down and see how individual people voted. And then you might want to track, like, people that said yes to my first question, what did they say to my second question? So you can really start to get an understanding of your audience. So those are some of the areas that we're sort of working in. But if people have requests, we're always very open to hearing them and keen for feedback.
That would be really cool. The only request that I had back in, I don't remember when it was, but the only request that I had, and you guys responded very quickly on it, and it was like really cool, was about custom fonts. And that's, of course, that is an unending topic, of course, but that would be really important, especially for those geeks and people who are in the business of presentation design, presentation training. And that's really important stuff also.
Yeah, totally. Totally. It is an area we've done a little bit of work in. I mean, one thing you can do if you're really a presentation geek, you can embed the font into your PowerPoint, and then it will work. But also, we're constantly growing our library of fonts. So
that's
most fonts.
The most important part is have the top 10 fonts, custom font in your library. I believe you'll be fine. Like Lato, Montserrat, Open Sans, etc. If you have those, Yeah, it's easy. Okay, man.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you very much for sharing all of those great things. Now, what do we expect? We expect the people to just go and check out Zeetings and hopefully use it as part of liven up their presentations. Let's go with this.
Yeah, totally. They could just go zeetings.com, create a free account. If they'd like a demo, there's a button on the website that'll come to someone on the team, and they can get a face-to-face demo. No charge for that.
I don't think that you need a demo on this software. It's so intuitive, so people will be fine. I promise.
Cool. Yeah. So give it a go, and give us your feedback. We'd love to hear any feedback people have, and I hope they just have a good experience using it.
Yeah, for sure. I promise you they will. Otherwise, I will have to talk with them. Anyway, thank you.
I think you need to be our new spokesman.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, Rob, leaving you now. 20 minutes already gone by. Thank you very much again for being with me, and I will share everything that we talked about on our website, our social media channels, of course. And let's hope more people will know about you and what you guys do, because it's really great stuff. Thanks, man, again.
Great. Thank you. Great to talk to you.
Bye, and hope to see you soon. Who knows?
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.